Hey everyone, Bob Downey here, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro. This is my 2023 Bass Cat Eyra. We're gonna do a little walkthrough, show you guys what we got going on here for rigging this year, and maybe give you some tips along the way. So come on here. We're starting off with the Minn Kota Ultrex. I've got a 45-inch on here right now. We're starting our season down in Florida. That's why I go with a little bit shorter shaft. We got Mega Live, Mega 360, and then I've got two 12-inch Humminbird Helixes, and I've got them on a Bass Boat Technologies mount here. It's called their Taki mount. It was actually designed by Takahiro Omori. We can show you a little bit more how it's offset, how I like to set it up. Not sponsored by those guys, it's just what I've used the last couple of years and it's worked really well for me. We got our two Raptor stomp switches here right at the front. Allows us to move the Raptors up and down from the bow of the boat. Come on back. In the back end of the boat, we've got two 8-foot Raptors. The Mercury Pro XS 250 gets us chugging along out on the lake. We've got the Bob's jack plate here. That sets the engine back a little bit, allows us to get more speed out of this boat, and it also moves the engine up and down. So when we get in shallow water situations, if we want to idle way back into an area, we can pump that motor up and it gets us into shallower water. It also gets us a little bit more top end speed. We can bump the engine up and pull it up out of the water when we're up on plane to get more speed. We use this jack plate a lot. Every day we're on the water, whether it's getting more top end speed out of the boat or getting back into shallower waters, getting up on plane faster. Many different uses for the Bob's jack plate. We've got our side imaging transducer back here for the Humminbird Helixes. I've got it mounted right down below here, out of the way of the lower unit. Gives us a good picture of the bottom of the boat there on each side as we're moving down the lake. Allows us to find little isolated pieces of structure really well. At the driver's seat, I've got two 12-inch Helixes. Typically I'm using this left one for mapping with LakeMaster, and the right one is more side imaging, down imaging, and 2D sonar. It's nice to have two, so I'm not switching back between a map and side imaging, and I get a bigger side imaging picture, which allows for a little bit more detail. So coming back to the front here, how I typically have these Helixes set up is you see a lot of guys running 3 graphs on the front of the boat these days. Me personally, I've got 2, and I really, for my style of fishing, don't feel like I need 3 up here. Reason for that, if I'm offshore fishing, I've got Mega Live on the top one, a full screen. Typically have 360 and then a sliver of LakeMaster mapping. I very rarely use 2D sonar or down imaging when I'm fishing offshore anymore. This Live is so good at showing me what's right underneath the boat as well as out in front of the boat. I don't really use 2D anymore. So I don't feel like I need 3 graphs to show me, whether it's 2D, down imaging, what have you. I pretty much just use Live, 360, and a map when I'm offshore. And then when I'm up shallow, let's say 5 foot or less, then I'll start messing around with these graphs a little bit more than when I'm offshore. And I might have map 2D and 360. I might have map 2D and forward facing, whatever I might find myself in from a situational standpoint. Like we're going to Lake Okeechobee to start the season, I'll probably just have map and 2D and not even have 360 and Live on. So shallow water, I mess around with them a little bit more, but 2 graphs up front here really help me do what I need to do. And one last tip for you 360 users out there, and one reason I really like this mount, is you can adjust this to be however you want it in terms of a pivoting feature. So you can loosen these screws and pivot it however you want. And when I'm using 360, I want to make sure my graphs are directly in line with the bow of the boat. I don't want these graphs tilted at all. Reason for that is, let's say I see a boulder at 3 o'clock over here on my 360. I want to be able to use the bow of my boat as the center line on that 360, so that if I see a boulder at 3 o'clock off the center of my boat, I know I can cast at 3 o'clock and hit that boulder perfectly. If this graph was turned, it'd be a lot more difficult to pinpoint your cast because you can't use the bow of the boat as a center line. So it's become a little easier with live technology. We can find those boulders and grass patches a little easier, but if you don't have forward-facing sonar and you're just using 360, be sure that you've got it lined up perfectly with the bow of the boat, and it's gonna make you a lot more accurate on your cast. So that's kind of the outside of the boat. We'll get in the back, hop in, and show you what else we got going on the inside. All right, in the back of the boat here, we've got 2 hatches. We've got our dual gas tanks. We've got the Minn Kota precision charger. I've got 4 Pro Guide batteries. I'm running 3 12-volt lithium Pro Guides for my trolling motor. Then I've got 1 31 AGM battery for my starting and my electronics. That worked pretty well last year. I didn't have any electronic issues, so I'm gonna run that again. This is my first year running lithiums. I'm excited to see what my hole shot is gonna be like with those lithiums. I think it's really gonna be advantageous in our shallow water tournaments, you know, Okeechobee, the Sabine, any of those, you know, shallower river tournaments, or Okeechobee, you know, you're getting up on plane and having to get up on plane extremely fast, and those lithiums I think are gonna help me a lot to jump up on plane in shallower backwaters. It just makes for a more efficient day on the water. You're not idling in and out of areas as much. We got our spare prop back here. I got a set of jumper cables just in case. And we got our Raptor pumps up underneath here. So that's the back setup. 3 lithiums and an AGM battery for the starter. We've got a couple compartments here. I keep, you know, life jackets, some culling equipment in this one. We got just some random, I got extension cords, some GoPro stuff. One cool thing on the Bass Cats for the pumps for the Raptors is you can actually access them right here under a little tray. Bass Cat puts that in their boat standard these days, which is cool. Makes it really easy to set up those and pair them and do what you need to do with Bluetooth. We got our 2 live wells. You know, triangle live wells from Bass Cat. We've got under the seat storage, which is nice. Keep some ropes, extra trolling motor, prop in there. We've got tools, fire extinguisher. We got a roll of duct tape. You always need a roll of duct tape in the boat. We've got a cooler under here. I typically use that for any trash and garbage throughout the day. A little compartment here, sunglasses, sunscreen, some screen cleaner in there. Nice and convenient for keys, wallet. We got a little tool holder right here, keeps things handy. This is a cooler I'm typically using for drinks, sandwiches, snacks, what have you. We've got a rod box full of some St. Croix. Can get a ton of them in there. Typically I'll store, right now I have some spinning rods in there. A lot of times I'll store just my bait casters on that side and spinning rods on this side. We're going down South Florida right now, so I don't have a ton of spinning rods with me. So this side we just got, you know, some extra gloves, hats. I got a bunch of line in there, push pole, light poles. I keep this just for rigging. It's almost like a little garbage can for me. And then this, I actually put my spools of line in. When I'm re-rigging rods, the spools kind of sit nice in there. Got some rain gear in here from Simms. And then on the Eyra, they've got the coffin style lids, which is a little bit unique. I've gotten used to it, I really like them. And I don't have to sit down here when I'm rigging. I can either sit here, or if this one's open, I'll sit here and be up just a little bit higher. Got plastics on this side. I've got hard baits here, and then some plastics, miscellaneous stuff up in front there. And then this is just a day box. I keep all my hooks up here. I've got just, you know, small 3600 style boxes for, this one has, you know, jig heads, tubes, Neds. This is all my flipping hooks, finesse style hooks. And then I've got a box for swim bait style heads, whether it's your finesse ones or big, you know, swim bait heads you'd maybe throw out on a ledge or something like that. So I use this day box for more hook storage than anything else. You know, if I get on a bite in a tournament where maybe I'm catching them on a certain style of plastic, I'll throw some extra bags of plastic in there. Got a little holder for, you know, super glue, some, you know, markers, and I keep a hook file in there, just some extra foam I had laying around. Keeps things a little bit more organized, keep that in there too. So that's about it. Bass Cat Eyra 2023. This is my 3rd year running an Eyra. I love this boat. It's really agile, super fast, handles big water well. A really good overall 20-foot boat that, you know, fishes a lot like a 19-foot boat when you're up shallow, which is what I really love about it. It's super agile. You can kind of juke and jive around laydowns, docks, grass, that sort of thing really well. So that's it. That's our setup for 2023. Hoping we get some fish slime in this thing quick and put some bass in it and have some success this year out on the tour.